Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. My name's Kyle. Tonight, it is Wednesday evening. Happy December 1st to you all. We're just going to do a quick video tonight. It's Wednesday night. We did get some practice reports and a few player blurbs and some news that are going to be helping us for Week 13. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of read the news. I'll wait for some questions and whatnot to get pumped in the chat room. But for now, just come on in, get ready, answer, get some questions filled up, and we'll go through them as they come in. But I'm going to start reading off the news here. Chase Claypool limited today. Deshaun Jackson limited today. I think we're expecting both those guys to play anyway, so it just I wouldn't take that too crazy there. Curtis Samuel limited. It looks like Curtis Samuel is going to be fine and healthy. He did, kind of have that groin injury, on and off throughout the whole season. But it looks like he's stacking some practices here after his first game back. Logan Thomas as well limited with that hamstring. James Robinson limited today, so it looks like he's starting off the week on track to play. There was some kind of big news here. The Seahawks signed Adrian Peterson to their practice squad. They do play San Francisco this week. I don't know if they're going to be able to get him, signed up and on the team for Sunday this week, but we'll monitor that. I think it's getting Adrian Peterson on your fantasy team is probably not something I'm interested in. You'd have to be pretty weak at the running back spot, I think, to do it. But if you needed someone, I suppose Adrian Peterson can be a guy for you. The Saints finally did, fess up and announce that Taysom Hill is the starting quarterback for Week 13. He should be added in all formats. I don't care if it's a 10 or 12-man league and then you just start the one quarterback. Taysom Hill probably needs to be on rosters. I do like the Saints' schedule the rest of the way. They play the Jets next weekend too. So the Saints, Taysom Hill looking like we're going to see some more excitement out of New Orleans. Some Rams updates here. Odell Beckham did not practice today. He had a hip pointer. McVay says he expects Beckham to play, so we'll monitor that. I would like to see him practice Thursday or Friday in some kind of limited capacity, so we'll watch for that. But so far, it sounds like not practicing Wednesday, but they're expecting him to play. And then kind of the same thing with Daryl Henderson. So he starts the week with the did not practice. He's going to be monitored all week. McVay expects him to play against the Jags, but we'll see. It's a pretty easy matchup for the Rams. If they had to get away with 1 week without Henderson, this would be the week to do it. So I think Sony Michel is probably a guy. If he's on your waiver wire, he's probably just worth a pickup over the next couple of days. If Henderson plays, that's fine. But Henderson's always been kind of a guy that's had an injury problem. So the seal is broken here. I think Sony Michel, especially with it's handcuff season right now for running back. So I think Sony Michel is a guy you want to hold on to for the upcoming weeks. Kyler Murray limited at practice today, so that's good news there. It sounds optimistic for him to play. He should play. He's had enough time off now with that ankle injury, so I'm excited for him. Corey Davis said he's going to probably play this week. He did not play with that groin injury last week, but they're going to be down Keelan Cole. So they need Davis back and ready to go for this one. Justin Fields limited today, so he returned. But it sounds like Andy Dalton's going to be the starter this week. Dalton did get the starters reps today, so they're just kind of easing Fields back in with the rib injury. Marquise Goodwin did not practice. Cole Kmet did not practice, as well as Allen Robinson not practicing. So Darnell Mooney needs to be rostered in all formats. Zach Wilson got a full practice in today. Mark Ingram. So this is for tomorrow night's game, the Saints-Cowboys. Mark Ingram is a full participant. He has no injury designation for tomorrow night. Again, Taysom Hill, he's going to be the starter. He has no injury designation as well. Teron Armstead, I think he's the left tackle there. He is questionable. We'll see. That would be a huge loss if he can't go. And then Alvin Kamara is questionable as well. And even if he plays, I still think you have to use Kamara. But just you have to, he's not going to be a top 5 running back option, I think, this week. He's more of a running back 2 at the moment right now as they ease him back into the offense. And then after Thursday, they're going to get the full 10 days to be healthy and have him ready to roll. So David Johnson not practicing on Wednesday. Brandon Cooks not practicing on Wednesday. Both those guys have illnesses. Ben Roethlisberger not practicing. But good news out of Pittsburgh. Pat Freiermuth is practicing today. Harris is asking, Jaylen Waddle or Darnell Mooney? Whew. I think at the moment right now, you got to go with Waddle. Waddle's numbers have been too hard to ignore. I like Darnell Mooney, but in this case, I'm going to stick with Waddle. It's a good matchup against the Giants, and I know Harris plays more standard format, so I do think I'm going to stick with Waddle even in a non-PPR format. And then Joe Burrow or Derek Carr. That's a tough one because Derek Carr gets the Washington football team. That's a really, really good matchup for him. Joe Burrow, he's going to get the Chargers. And I just think the way that you play against the Chargers is you want to run the football on them. So I'm going to lean with Derek Carr. I'm going to go with the numbers here. Washington allows the most quarterback points. And the Chargers, let me just double check my charts here. The Chargers, let me see. I'm going to put a link in the chat too to show you guys. But the Chargers allowing they rank 27th in fantasy points allowed to the quarterback. So they are pretty stingy. I'm going to drop a link here. If you guys have any questions on like start sits and you want to look at some of the players and see who they're going up against defensively, the fantasy points allowed charts really help for that. So I'm going to say Derek Carr. What's going on, Justin? Thanks for hanging out, man. Mooney or Van? I think you got to go with Mooney in this one. I just looked at the Bears reports today, and no Marquise Goodwin, no Cole Kmet, no Allen Robinson. Mooney is the guy. Andy Dalton's had a good connection with him the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to stick with Darnell Mooney in that one. I do like Van, but I think you got to stick with Mooney there. Madison, Barkley, Jacobs, Zeke. Sit one. Whew. Okay. So the one guy you're going to use for sure is probably Madison. You probably got to use Zeke as well. So it's between Barkley and Josh Jacobs for me. And Saquon Barkley gets the Dolphins defense, which is playing pretty well right now. And then you have Josh Jacobs going up against, who does Jacobs play? The Raiders get the Washington football team. So I'm not super excited about that matchup for Josh Jacobs. I do think he's touchdown dependent, and he probably has a better chance to score a touchdown than Saquon Barkley. So let me just look at the fantasy points allowed real quick. The New York Giants playing the Miami Dolphins. Miami's pretty stingy. They rank 24th against the running back, and then the Washington football team is actually a better matchup for Josh Jacobs. So I'm going to say sit Saquon Barkley, especially because we don't even know if Daniel Jones is going to play it. It sounded like he was going to play, but now he's at practice. So I'm going to say sit Saquon Barkley, especially if what's his name, Mike Glennon starts. Gibson Madison. Oh no, Gibson Madison. Oh man, do I have to choose Gibson Madison and Mitchell start one? Oh no, that's insane. That team's going to be banging this week. So I think it's Madison against Detroit. I'm not going to get cute. Like Madison has just been on fire when Cook hasn't played. So I think it's Madison. I really do like Elijah Mitchell. Like Elijah Mitchell has a really good matchup too. He's going to get the volume. But I think Madison is probably the safest play here. And I mean, to be honest, Gibson has a really good matchup too. I really like what he's got potentially this week, especially if J.D. McKissic can't go. So you're looking at 3 top 10 running backs here. I think I will go with Alexander Madison though. Harris says Jamar Chase or Adam Thielen. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Bengal receivers this week going up against the Chargers defense. They are the second best against wide receivers. So they allow in a PPR format. I guess Harris plays standard. So in a standard format, they allow just under 16 points to all the receivers per game. So if you're looking at Chase and Higgins being the biggest receivers there, you divide that by 2, that's about 8 points per game in a standard, and we don't even have room for Tyler Boyd there. So I do think I'm sitting Chase. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen. He's got a better chance, I think, for a touchdown this week. So I will say Adam Thielen. Good evening, Inceptivus. Hope you're having a good Wednesday night. He says start 2 full PPR: Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Ayuk, Hunter Renfrow, Sony Michel, Jamal Williams. Full PPR, the guy that sticks out the most here is Elijah Mitchell. I think he's a top 5, top 10 running back this week. If you look at the Seattle points allowed to the running back, they give up the second most PPR points to the RB. So Elijah Mitchell, we're going to lock him in for sure. And then after that, like I feel really good about Brandon Ayuk this week. I feel really good about Hunter Renfrow this week. I think if no Daryl Henderson, Sony Michel's probably a guy that I really want to get in my lineup. But for now, I think I'm cool with Ayuk or Renfrow. These guys are all really good options, but I think you got to take advantage of Jamal Williams against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are allowing the 11th most PPR points to running back, so that's about 25 PPR points per game. So I'm going to rank them Elijah Mitchell, Jamal Williams. If you want to avoid Jamal Williams, I think if I had to pick one of those wide receivers, I mean, Renfro's got all the numbers on his side for this one. He feels really, really good in a full PPR league. But Brandon Ayuk, I think it's Brandon Ayuk against Seattle here. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But I think the safest play is Jamal Williams because he's going to get touches. Najee and Zeke starting. Oh man, we need to get one more. We need 2 flexes in that league. I think my favorite format for fantasy leagues is to have you start 2 running backs, you start 2 receivers, and you start 2 flexes. And then I always vote to get rid of a kicker or a defense, but that's just me. Harris says Jamar Chase or Miles Sanders, non-PPR. In that situation, I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. Again, I know I just talked about the Chargers being a tougher matchup, but Sanders, he's played a handful of games and he hasn't scored a touchdown once. I think your odds of getting a touchdown out of Jamar Chase are much, much greater than getting one with Sanders. And with Sanders, he's got a bum ankle right now. It sounds like Boston Scott is in a 50-50 kind of committee with him. And then you have the possibility of Jordan Howard getting in there. So I don't like the Sanders Eagles backfield right now. I think I'd rather stick and roll the dice with Jamar Chase, who has been playing well, but we know that he can just do his full damage in one play. So I'll go with Chase. Pick 2, Elijah Moore, Tyreek Hill, Hunter Renfrow, or Mike Williams. I'm going to go Tyreek and Elijah Moore. Because Harris plays standard, Elijah Moore he's probably the best play out of all these guys, over all these receivers. And then I think just with Tyreek Hill, like you don't want to bench Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to say Tyreek and Elijah Moore for sure. I did want to kind of cover some Cowboy news real quick. The Amari Cooper stuff. He's questionable. He was limited at practice today. They kind of had a walkthrough, it sounded like. So he flew with the team to New Orleans. It sounds like he's going to play. So if you have Cooper, I'm hesitant. You'd have to let me know. Like if I have to decide between Amari Cooper and Darnell Mooney, I'm probably going to roll with Darnell Mooney. If I had a really good option behind Cooper, I'm probably going to go with that. Cedric Wilson also is going to be out for this one. So that actually, to me, that's really good news for CeeDee Lamb. And I still like Michael Gallup a lot. Even if Cooper plays, I think I'm still trying to get Gallup in some of my lineups. Interesting. So the Eagles running backs, I'm just looking at all their stuff right now. Boston Scott with a non-COVID illness did not practice today. Devonta Smith, non-COVID, did not practice today. Jordan Howard did not practice Wednesday. So now I see the intrigue of Miles Sanders here because the only way I'm going to use Sanders is if you tell me Boston Scott and Jordan Howard are not playing. That's really the only case that I would make for Sanders. If he gets one of Howard or Scott playing, I'm not interested. I just don't see the upside for touchdowns with Sanders as I do with Jamar Chase. Let me see what else we got here for player news today. Antonio Brown, he's expected to miss at least the next 2 games, which is frustrating because he's got a really good matchup this week against Atlanta. And then who do they play next week? I can't remember. Tampa Bay. Let me actually pull up that schedule next week. And then I'm just curious in the chat room, is next week the last regular season week for you guys, or do you guys start playoffs next week? I think in the past it's always been 13 regular season weeks for fantasy, but with the extra game this year, I know all my leagues were going to the end of week 14 for our fantasy playoffs. But it looks like Antonio Brown's going to be out until week 15. Week 14, they play Buffalo. That's a good game. Buffalo, Tampa Bay. That's going to be fun in week 14. And then week 15, I'm excited for week 15 because we got a Thursday night football game between the Chiefs and the Chargers. And then you get 2 Saturday games, the Raiders at Cleveland, the Patriots at the Colts. So some really fun Saturday, December 18th games going on. Tampa Bay does play New Orleans on Sunday Night Football that week. So that's when Antonio Brown is expected to play. Let me see what else we got here. TJ Hawk or Logan Thomas. So, Hawkinson's frustrating, man. I know he had a good game against the Bears on Thanksgiving. I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt here, but Logan Thomas against the Raiders, as I'm looking at my fantasy points allowed stats here, the Raiders give up the second most points to the tight end position. So for Harris in standard formats, they're allowing 10.94 points to the tight end. They've allowed 723 yards and 8 touchdowns. Only 2 teams have allowed more. Only 3 teams have allowed more tight end yards, and only 2 teams have allowed more tight end touchdowns. So the matchup's in Logan Thomas's favor. And then if you look at Hawkinson going up against the Vikings are like the 3rd best against the tight end. They've only allowed 1 tight end touchdown all season and 474 yards. So just based on the stats, I'm rolling out Logan Thomas. Pick 1 to flex, non-PPR, Javonte, Mike, or Hunter Renfrow. Interesting. So I did see that Melvin Gordon is not practicing today. Let me see if I can find that actually. And Melvin Gordon had multiple injuries. So if you could guarantee me that Melvin Gordon's not playing, here's the blurb. He says, not practicing with a hip and a shoulder. It looks like he's going to be just fine. It doesn't sound like concern here. So I'm assuming Melvin Gordon plays. I like Javonte Williams, but the game script against the Chiefs, that makes me a little bit nervous. Mike Williams going up against the Bengals, and then you got Hunter Renfrow here. So when you play non-PPR, you're asking yourself, who has the best chance to score a touchdown? I feel like Mike Williams probably is the best chance. I know Hunter Renfrow has been playing well of late here. Hold on. I'm just flipping to a setting where I can see some standard stuff here. I think in a standard format, I'm going to lean with, I guess, even so it's risk reward. Do you want to take the safe points of Hunter Renfrow racking up 60 some yards in the a shot for a touchdown, or do you want to take Mike Williams, who has that big ceiling? So I'm going to go with one of the receivers. If you want to just lock in the safe points of Hunter Renfrow, I would say I'm fine with that. And again, they're playing the 32nd ranked team against quarterback, so Renfrow could have a good game. But I think Mike Williams is kind of the guy that I want to lean with. As I look at it, the Bengals, middle of the road against the wide receivers, so I'm not too scared to play it. It's just a preference call. So if you can afford the risk, Mike Williams has the biggest ceiling, and I hate missing Mike Williams games, so I think that's where I'm going to lean with. But anyways, keep firing up your questions. I'll hang out for another 2 or 3 minutes or so. I did want to just kind of read off some final player news and blurbs as I got to the New York Giants here. Kyle Rudolph not practicing. Kadarius Toney not practicing. So this is frustrating. Like, we've seen him ball out before, and he's just not being able to stay on the field. So Sterling Shepard not practicing with a quad injury. There's reportedly hope that he will be able to return this week, but he's not starting off the week. Very good. So we're watching this. The Giants, of course, they have Shepard, Toney, and Kenny Golladay. I'd be interested in Golladay if Toney or Shepard can't go. But we're waiting to see what Daniel Jones is up to first. And the Dolphins' defense has just been balling lately. So interesting. We'll see what happens with that. And then Darren Waller not practicing today with his knee injury. So if you need a tight end, Foster Moreau would be the guy that I would want to start. And then again, probably one of my favorite plays this weekend is Jamal Williams for the Detroit Lions. As we're hearing that DeAndre Swift might not be able to play for the next couple of weeks. And just kind of reading the tea leaves, man, like they're 0-10-1. Like, do we really need to sacrifice DeAndre Swift out there for that much longer? So I would be concerned about him getting shut down. I think if you have DeAndre Swift, I'm probably trying to move him for a penny on the dollar kind of situation. If you can flip DeAndre Swift for Javonte Williams or even like Tony Pollard, or just try to get something useful for your bench, I think I would totally do that. So, but that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to go live Thursday night. That's going to be more of a start sit situation. I think as the practice reports come out, I like to sit and just kind of absorb it all. Wednesday is the first day where we get stuff, but I think just something I've noticed with the practice reports, as the season gets older and colder, Thursday is the most important day for fantasy practices, I believe. So Wednesday, kind of a light workload day. I think most teams that play on Sunday, they want to implement a full practice on Thursday, and then they kind of have another light walkthrough on Friday. So we'll find out a lot of information tomorrow. We have a really fun football game, Saints and the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll be taking questions tomorrow night. We'll go live at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. And I don't know. Thank you guys for your time. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Have a good one. Peace.